We came to the farm in 1990. My wife and I are both professionals. I'm a vet and she's an electrical engineer. And after working for about 10 years in our professions, we decided that it was time for a lifestyle change. That was a great change. When we came here, there was no infrastructure as we have now in terms of winery or distillery or variety of crops. It was basically pretty much just monoculture grapes. It wasn't like a conscious decision, now we're going to change over and become organic. Instead, what happened was that over a period of 4 or 5 years, we gradually moved away from using the agrochemicals and started investigating alternatives. Things like permaculture, mixed cropping, not monoculture. And then around about the middle of the 90s, we converted to fully organic. And so I went to the cooperative and I said, look, this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to make good quality grapes without any residues and without any pesticides. Are you prepared to pay me more for my grapes? Because my crop has got a whole pile smaller because of the fact that I'm not pumping them with artificial fertilizers and poisons. And they said, no, sorry, we don't have a market for this type of product at all. And I'm just going to get paid what everybody else gets paid. So I was basically in a predicament. I was pretty close to going bankrupt. I was then forced to decide to make some wine to add some value to it. And so we started in 1906, we made our first wine. And then in 98, we started with a distillery. Upland Estate is an organic farm, and therefore it should never be a monoculture. So our core crops are grapes and olives. So we've got about 5 hectares of grapes and about 5 hectares of olives. And then our lesser important crops are buchu, which is also about 5 hectares, but it's growing wild in the areas of the farm that are not cultivated. And then we have the 3 types of nuts: pecans, macadamias, and almonds. They also ripen at different times of the year, which is nice to spread things out. And then there are small crops, by which I mean the dried apples and dried pears, and we're busy at the moment with dried mangoes. Yeah. If I were to have to give any advice to somebody who's starting out and wanting to do some of the similar things that I've done here, the first is obviously try and get as much information as possible. The second thing is perhaps goes contrary to what many people will tell you, and that is don't specialize in one thing. Try and diversify. And then lastly, something that's helped me hugely is try and make sure that the product that you sell is not perishable in the short term. In other words, don't try and sell fresh apples or don't try and sell fresh anything, because firstly, your fruit is going to be ripe when everybody else's fruit is going to be ripe, and so the price is going to crash. And secondly, if you dry it or process it or turn it into wine or do some other process that will extend its life, you can then sell it at a time when it's much more convenient.